Okay, good evening. Good evening, Cesar. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome. Everyone, you're welcome to our YouTube channel. And on this YouTube channel, we discuss everything green card through the EB2-NIW category. So that's what we do on this channel. And you are welcome and thank you for joining us. Today, I have a very wonderful guest that I am interviewing because rather than going through the EB2-NIW that this channel is known for, he went through the EB1 category to file for his green card in the United States. So a lot of people, because of the wait time for EB2-NIW category, they are thinking of using the EB1 route, but they don't know how to go about it. They don't even know if they qualify. So that is why my guest is very important today, and he will be sharing how he went through the process with us by answering some of the questions I have for him. So once again, thank you, Cesar, for agreeing to do this. Could you please introduce yourself briefly?
Of course. Again, Nikki, thank you so much for inviting me. I hope a lot of people will benefit from this conversation that we're going to have today. I'm Cesar Escalante. I am a plant pathologist, meaning that I worked with plant diseases, and I am currently a postdoctoral fellow working for USDA through Auburn University.
Thank you
And
so much.
I just went through all this process of obtaining my permanent residency or green card, and again, I'm happy to share with you all.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to have you. So we would start from the very easy questions, okay? So the first question is, what is the EB1 category? How can you describe it? What's the requirements? Who are those this is meant for? Who can qualify to go through this category to get their United States green card?
Yeah, so EB1, it's just like EB2 is also another category for employment-based immigration request. And EB1 has three categories. One is for something that is called special abilities. The other one is for outstanding professors and researchers. And the third one, I think, is called the multinational manager or executive, something like that. And so basically, for the first one, the one that is called special abilities, you can do a self-petitioning. For the other two, there has to be a sponsor that has to file the petition for you. So I will say the difference between EB1 and EB2 is there are some probably few more requirements in terms of publications, and we will probably discuss about that later. But in general, that's what EB1 is.
Wow, thank you so much. You have it at the tip of your finger. I love how you just put it together and made it clear to people. So, yes, that is the EB1, but you were talking about something that I think some people will find really important. What is the difference between EB2 and EB1? And why did you think you were qualified for EB1 rather than EB2 NIW?
Yeah, like I said, I would say this is just very personal opinion. I will say the difference between the EB2 and EB1 is that EB1 requires a little bit of more, in our case, that we are doing research, for example. It probably requires a little bit more publications, for example. That's the main difference that I will find, but also something that I find very important and that makes a difference between the two of them is also to have some recognitions, either nationally or internationally. and also to have, you need to have records that you have been involved in certain leadership positions also, either in the United States or outside of the United States. And again, I didn't go through the EB2 process, and I don't know exactly, what it's, and you guys have been discussing a lot about the EB2, and I see the way you present your case sometimes is a little bit different in terms of EB2 and EB1. For EB1, again, you have to present all this information that support almost every sentence that you put in your personal statement when you're writing that. So yeah, so in my opinion, those are the big difference between the two categories.
So thank you so much. I think that is clear. And you already told us the 3 categories that can, be eligible for this EB1. And I'm guessing you went with the professor or outstanding researcher category, correct?
Actually, like, I don't know if you remember at the very beginning, I told you that for these last 2 categories, for the outstanding, it's called outstanding professors and researchers, and the other one is for managers or executive category. For these 2 categories, you need to have a sponsor. And because I did self-petitioning, I applied for extraordinary ability category. That's what is called EB1A.
Yes.
Exactly. So that will be the first category within these 3 groups that you have in the EB1. So I decided, exactly. So I decided to apply for the EB1A, mainly because I am self-petitioning, and that's the only category that allows you to do self-petitioning for the EB1. And obviously I went through all the 10 criteria that this category has, and I made sure that I at least met 70%. That was kind of my criteria to say, okay, I need to meet all these at least 70% of the criteria that they put in there in the list.
This is interesting because I think you should, or you are required to meet only 3 or 4 of the 10, but you wanted to meet 7, right? 70%.
Exactly. I mean, I I was self-petitioning. I just wanted to make sure that I was covering as much as I could. And like I say, if you have been involved in certain things, that will cover all these criteria, I think it might be worth it to give it a shot.
Okay. Thank you so much. Of course, I know you and I know what you did, but for the purpose of the people, listening to really learn about this process, can you remember the 7 requirements that you met conveniently out of the 10? Can you remember?
So I will, yes, I think I can remember. And like I said at the beginning, in my opinion, one of the most important ones is publications. So, like you say, you know me, and I recently finished my PhD, and so by the time I finished my PhD, I had quite a good number of publications, and that was a plus in my application. That's one of the criteria. And the second one is to be involved in national and international organizations. If you are doing professional organizations, exactly. So, if you are in the sciences, how much have you been involved in your scientific organizations, for example, right? And so many other organizations professional organizations that you can get involved in, either here in the US or in other countries. The third one, is recognitions and awards. Again,
you international. Have a lot of them.
I have quite a, some. When I was in my home country, I got some, and that's something that I want to emphasize is it's very important that everyone keeps records of their awards, and what I mean records means proof that you obtain an award, even if it is only an email saying, congratulations, you won this award. It's important you keep record of that email, because if you apply for EB1, you need to have that proof. You need to have proof that you actually won that award that you are listing there.
Yeah.
Just, and we can talk more about that later. But a fourth one is showcase of my research, for example.
Your original contribution.
Original contributions, exactly, through basically oral presentations, poster presentations, and all of that. Excuse me. And the other one, which is kind of similar, so they have, and I have it here in front of me. So one of them is evidence of your authorship or scholarly articles. That's kind of the same with the other one that says display or artistic exhibitions or showcases.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
that's kind of number 5.
Yeah. And then I think your recognition in the media of your work as well.
Exactly.
So, like newspaper, they also mention your work. That's also part of the requirements. I know you would have met.
Exactly. Yeah, that was another part of evidence that I included. For example, if you were showcased in the news, or any newsletters in your organization or something like that, that's another thing. It's very important to keep a record of that information and that evidence. Another very important one is basically it's to show that you have been a reviewer, for example, for a scientific journal, or that you have been a judge.
Reviewed the work of others. You've judged
exactly. Exactly. So, in my case, since I was a grad student, I will participate as a reviewer for some journals. I have that information. I have those records that I participated as a reviewer, and also I serve as a judge during some conferences, for example. Yes. So that tells the officer who's revising this application that you are an expert in this in the area, basically, and that obviously they want to keep you here.
Yes, thank you so much. You've given a lot of examples. The other question I have in my mind is, were you required to submit recommendation letters? Because for EB2, people try to support their cases with recommendation letters from people that can attest to their, exceptional ability or whatever they're claiming. Did you also have to present recommendation letters?
Yes. I also, and I will say from my personal experience, that was some of the tasks during, the time putting together this application. That's what it took more time, because obviously you have to contact people. Not everybody is immediately available. Yes. Mm-hmm. And exactly. So I presented in my application 8 letters of support, and so I went ahead and gathered about 10. But I selected 8 of them, exactly, very strong letters, and I included them in the application. So yes, you need letters of support for the EB1.
So I have 2 questions, and we'll be done with this part of your interview. The next one is, tell us, why did you petition by yourself?
So again, I'm talking based on my very personal experience, and I did it because I thought it would be faster than asking my organization to do the petition for me, because they have certain protocols and it will take more time. And in some institutions, talking, for others, some institutions, they will not support
Even,
sometimes early career professionals that are in a non-tenure track position or not permanent position. So sometimes it's difficult, to get a sponsorship. So
okay, why
that's one of
didn't
the
you
main.
use a lawyer when you decided you were going to do by yourself? Why didn't you use a lawyer?
Because it's expensive.
Okay.
It's expensive, and I went through the whole information and also asking people who has experience in this, including you. You helped me a lot on this. And I also have another really good friend that applied for the EB1 category. So he oriented me in terms of, what to do, what information ask, and gather. And so I thought, really, if I have access to all this information, and I really can do it myself, I don't have to pay a lawyer. It will also probably take more time, and I will definitely have to spend more money.
Okay. So talking about time, can you tell us the process, your application process and timeline? When you submitted, how long did it take for them to get back to you? When they got back to you, how long did the adjustment of status, how long did it take? Can you just walk us through that timeline real fast? And that will be the last question.
Yes. So you're talking from the submission time once I submitted my application?
Yes.
So so it took 10 days for them to get back to me with the approval notice after I submitted the application.
10 days.
10 days, exactly. And remember that I paid for the
Premium process.
premium processing, right? That's supposed to speed up things a little bit more also. So yes, 10 days. And then they send me all the instructions to do the change of the status. And for me, in order to do change of status, I have to send another form and the medical records and medical and vaccination records. That's actually what it took a little bit of time. For me, it took about, I would say, almost like a month, because you have to schedule an appointment with a physician that is it's within the USCIS list. It's not every, like any kind of physician that you have to go, that I has to be in their list. And they do some tests, physical tests, and blood tests also, and so you have to wait for those results. So that took about a month. Then once I had all of that, I submit all that information in the form that goes with the medical and vaccination records. I also submitted the other form that is for the change of status. So I did all of that at the same time. After they got the all this information, I think I got my actual green card in about 1 or 2 months later. So
Yeah.
it was very, very quick, compared to other. And I think that's also another difference between EB1, EB2, or EB3, is that they consider EB1 what they call first priority.
Yeah, the
So
priority date cards. Yeah.
exactly. So the process, or the time is gonna be quicker than other categories.
Very well said. Thank you so much for everything you've shared with us. I really appreciate your time, and I hope somebody that watches this video would maybe have more questions and reach out to you. I hope you'll be willing to share with them some of their answers. So thank you, our viewers, for always coming here to learn. We hope Dr. Escalante's interview has also given you a little bit insight into the EB1A category for applying for the US green card. Till next time, Please subscribe to our channel and share with people that might need this information. Thank you and bye-bye.